Are you ready to get off the truck? What's up, blue collar business owner? Welcome back to the Blue Collar Prosperity Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Maska, where we focus on helping guide you to have a prosperous blue collar business. Today, we have with us back David Moerman. David is the founder and CEO at Home Service Business Coach, which specializes in providing coaching and systems to home service business owners so they can achieve more freedom and income from their business. His recent company, Revive Services, was an exterior cleaning business, which was acquired in March of 2025. David is also a published author with his recent book, Get Off the Truck, which is a practical guide to help home service business pros scale their business for more freedom. So that is David Moerman. Welcome back, David. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. What is going on in Canada today?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm back here off a week vacation in Mexico with the family. You and I were just jamming. We both put family first. So it was a great getaway. And now I'm back here, man, 2 days to grind out some work before Christmas. But it's cold where I am, but I'm just close to Vancouver. So we're close to the ocean, and we don't get snow very often here. So it's like pretty nice right now.
Awesome. Love it. Well, congrats on the exit of Revive. Last time we chatted, you were running that business and you're running Home Service Business Coach. Since then, you've exited your business. So let's pick up there. What was kind of what propelled you to be like, look, I'm gonna. You were running Revive for a really long time, so you decided to sell it,
Yeah.
and now you're all in on Home Service Business Coach. Let's dive into that. Give us an update on why you did that and where you're at today.
Yeah, man. So our son Beckham was born June of 2023, and as you know, you bring a kid into the world. It's a whole shakeup of everything. And so I was running Revive prior. Home Service Business Coach was growing. Beckham was born, and after about like a year in trying to run two businesses, there's 18 team members between the two companies. Still be a present dad best I could. I remember Paul was one morning. I was getting ready for the day. I was literally putting toothpaste in my hand. I thought it was the hair wax. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm going crazy here trying to do this thing. So I actually went through the process of self-listing my business, creating an NDA, interviewing people. It took me about 10 months from like, let's get this thing going, to actually finding the right buyer. And then March 6th this year, officially transferred the business over in a share sale here in Canada. So yeah, it was exciting. I kind of wanted to catch up to you, to what you've done, man, and be able to exit a business. I feel that's on kind of a lot of entrepreneurs like wish list. And I actually went back about a month ago to the new Revive shop. Got to see what they're doing. They're buying new Mercedes Sprinter vans. They're wrapping them, and it's like literally sold to like Dave, but 9 years younger Dave, and honestly, like more entrepreneurial chops than Dave. And he's right in there, great guns, working 5 a.m. to midnight, and he's absolutely blowing up that business. So he took what I built over 8 years as a V1, a very good business, and he's now the next leader, moving it to the next level. And I get to be in this, fun coaching role. We're on calls periodically. I get to visit with the team, and he's even coming to my summit in 2 weeks. I got all my clients flying into Vancouver. He's coming with his right-hand manager, Katrina, and they're going to come. We're going to learn and hang out together for 3 days. So it's like a super good story from kind of moving things along with Revive there.
That's awesome because, as you know, and some of the listeners know, that doesn't always happen when the founder exits a business and someone else takes it over. Sometimes the culture changes. There's a mass exodus. They start changing everything. Even though they bought something really good, they decide to change it all just to change it all, because I think sometimes that's what entrepreneurs do. We get bored when things are actually working well. So then we just try and break stuff so we can fix stuff. But that's awesome. Kudos to you. Congrats to you. Now let's move into Home Service Business Coach. So because I know we talked before the show that it's really hard to scale, and you kind of referenced it too. It's really hard to scale two things at once and
Yeah.
get the results you want when you're splitting your time, and then you add a kid, and you always have your wife, and you got yourself. It's hard to do all the things that do them really well. So
Mhm.
what have you seen from Home Service Business Coach since you went all in, from March till now?
Yeah, great question, man. A few big projects I was working on that were just like kind of always like traditionally on hold, just because I didn't have the best capacity. Like I actually had my book here, pretty much done, Paul, about a year and a half ago. I actually had it at like a 7 out of 10. And I felt that it wasn't to the level yet that I could confidently bring it out in the world. I didn't want to hire a ghostwriter or, have ChatGPT write my book as like a lead magnet. I wanted it like really, really, really good for our exact avatar for how to actually build systems and build a business that creates freedom. And so that was one big project. Once Revive exited, I could go all in on, and the book went live October 10 this year, so just a couple months ago, and we could chat about that. The other thing was what I saw, Paul. A lot of our companies we work with, they're a little smaller than would work with you. They're usually around like 300, 400, $500,000, and what kind of happened, and you've seen this shift, is with cost of living, tariffs, the economy, we found our clients had a tougher willingness to just throw down a $10,000 USD wire payment, which was traditionally the coaching program we were running. So I took 6 months and actually rebuilt almost this junior offer. And those that love soccer, I know you love sports, Paul. It's almost like a feeder academy to the main thing. So I built out what's called the HSP Accelerator program, and we've now got 76 exterior cleaning business owners in that junior program now, which doesn't cost 10K, which is more affordable monthly. It's group based, and we can kind of nurture those businesses over the course of 18 months to be ready for our top tier one-to-one coaching program. So I built that out as well. So those are kind of the two big projects I had like working on, but they didn't officially ship yet. And so once Revive exited, the first visit I went to, once I saw the payment come through, I actually went to the dollar store and I bought a bunch of poster boards and I planned out both those projects where HSBC is going. And so I just fully dove in as like CEO. And it's just exciting to just have like one thing to really champion. So my goal this year, don't get distracted. My word this year, Paul, is boring. Just continue, Dave, doing what you're doing. Do not try and write another book or invest in this thing or do this. Just keep doing what I've done, because I've worked really hard for 16 years to build this life that I feel like I've got one main business to keep the main thing through 2026.
I love the word of the year because I tell our clients all the time, like, once we get your business at 20% net profit, they're like, then what? I'm like, then it's kind of boring. Literally, like, we fixed all the fires, we got a solid foundation. Now we're just going to do more of the same and just continue to scale. But even like I said before, like sometimes we just break things because we get bored. But when we have a boring business doing 20% net profit, that's okay. So I love the word of the year. And kudos to you for all the things you built out and all the people you help. So let's get into the book. Get
Yeah.
off the truck. I know you've been working on this thing for quite a while. It's like, it's step by step. How do you actually get off the truck? But let's dive into it. When someone gets that book,
Mhm.
what's the first thing that we can expect when we dive into that book? And what problem are we trying to solve? Other than obviously the title, what's the biggest problem
Yeah.
that these people have?
I think the biggest one, Paul, is a lot of owners approach their business with a really high knowledge of the technical side, but actually, and you see this every day, man, we both do, a really low IQ of the business knowledge, of the marketing, of the sales. And so they kind of default to like doing the handiwork, turning the wrench, cleaning the window, whatever. Like the service doesn't specifically matter, but they're like a 2 out of 10 when it comes to their chops on the business side. So my goal was take 157 pages, put it in a paperback book. Why that? Because when I backpacked through Asia, I took books with me all the time, and I did not like backpacking with the hardcover book. So I'm like, I want something that you can fold it up and you could also read on a short haul flight. You can read this book. It's 33,000 words. I'm a slow reader. I have trouble focusing. You can read that in 3 hours, start to finish, and it's on Audible now as well. And so I took 3 years of my life. I poured it into this book. It kind of ebbed and flowed. I would leave it for a few months, and I'd work really hard on it. And so, yeah, the biggest problem I'd say we're trying to solve for is how can a business owner really build a business, build an asset, and not just own, as a lot of owners do, just own like a high paying or even in a lot of cases like a low paying job.
Yeah, so let's kind of dig into that a little bit because obviously when most probably 95% of the people listening to the show, they were the technician when they started their business, right? They were working for somebody else. They were the plumber and they realized, you know what? I think I could do this better. I could do it differently. There's a different pain point that I see our customers having that this business isn't solving, or they don't treat me right. So we go start this thing. We've got dreams, goals, aspirations of like, one day I'm going to do this, right? Like I want this multi-million, especially now, everyone wants to sell their business now because it's a essential service and PE's paying crazy multiples and all that. So they got this big vision. I'm going to turn this into a $5 million company and sell it. And then very quickly, those go out the window and it's like, we're just trying to survive, right? Like they show up every day, they fight fires, they're busy all day, but then they're actually not getting any closer to where they want to be. And a lot of times it goes back to exactly what you said. They don't give themselves enough credit. They say, I'm just not a business person. I'm just a technician. And I hear this a lot from people. It's like, you know what? I'm better off just getting rid of everybody and going back on the truck and just me, somebody answering the phone, and I can make a lot more money. What do you tell those people that are just so frustrated with having a team and like, I just can't get out of the field all the way and this person's bringing me down?
Yeah.
I'm just better off doing this myself. What do you tell those people?
I think, Paul, a lot of people that currently own a business right now, they actually are better off just doing it themselves, if that is their natural skill set. Like, it's my hope with the book that you could get through this and almost have your like aha moment. Like for me, it was when I read the E-Myth. I was like running a $550,000 painting business. I was making 150 grand a year. I was 24 years old. And I was like, wow, this thing doesn't run without me because I'm the rainmaker. I got to sell $20,000 a week when we're busy and manage all the projects and deal with the stuff that comes up. So it's really, it's gotta, like, I'm not here to be like every owner needs to get off the truck. I don't believe that. I think there's certain owners that do. And I think that this book, for those that really want to, this book will propel you to get there. But I'm not under the illusion that having more employees and more systems and more infrastructure automatically excuses you to like a completely problem-free life. It's just kind of like that meme of like, choose what level of hard you want. If I want to jump back on the truck, do 500 grand a year and put 150 of that in my pocket, that's great. But you're not going to have something really sellable. You're not going to have something if you get injured. That's the hard there. But someone who chooses that, to grow to multi seven figures and build something that runs without them, their hard is the stress, is the anxiety. Like I'd almost say the cost of ambition is almost anxiety as it is. Because if you want to have more employees, more infrastructure, you're probably going to sacrifice your sleep for a number of years, if not a decade. So it just comes to like, what do you want to do? But my book exists for those that want to build something larger than themselves. I say it too, Paul, in the first 10 pages. Like, if you want to build $100 million business, like, don't read this book because I've never done it. I can't tell you how to do that. So this book's going to show you how do you get off the tools. I ran home service businesses for 16 years. I was on the truck for about like 2.5 of them. And so I got a lot of experience with bringing people on, creating SOPs, managing your time, building out a sales team, all the things that you need to be an ingredient for success. But I'm not here to say every owner needs to get off the tools, because I think learning how to run a business is actually like a multi-year like evolution that just takes time. And it's my hope that this book is maybe an initial catalyst to get someone thinking along those lines.
Yeah, and I actually love that advice because it's funny. Before this call, I was talking with a mutual friend, Phil Risher, about that.
Yeah.
It's actually okay if you're a one man band and you can do, I don't know, 600,000 of HVAC work and keep 400 of it. I think where most people get stuck is if they make 400, they spend 400. So they're not building, like you said, that safety net, or they're not building. If we're going to make 400,000, we need to put some aside to build wealth for the future, because our wealth will not come from the exit of the business. Where those one man bands get stuck is they live off 400. So then they're not putting away money. They're not building wealth through real estate or investing or somewhere else. And they're working really hard. So then if they do get injured, all of a sudden no money comes in, or they want to take a vacation. If you want to take a vacation, it's just you, money stops, all those things. Versus if we can start to get off the truck, we can have a little bit more safety net. And I love your thought of, choose your hard, because everything's hard. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. Like, if you're really lazy, that's actually like really, your life is really hard if you choose to be lazy, right? Like if you're not that ambitious, your life is really hard. You're going to struggle with a lot of things. And that's the hard you choose versus like, no matter what you choose, it's going to be hard. It's what do we want? What's going to be on the other side of that? So I really love that thought process. So let's focus on the people that do want to get off the truck. They want to get rid of the tools. They want to be able to take a vacation.
Mhm.
One of the biggest things, as you know, is the mindset of no one's going to do this as good as I can. Once I leave, it's going to go to shit. Even if we're like off the tools and then we're the main salesperson, like you said, you're the rainmaker. And whenever we need revenue, we got to throw Dave back in the truck so he can go sell a bunch of stuff to keep the installers busy or whatever.
Mhm.
What do you tell those people that tell themselves, no one's going to do it as well as I can?
Yeah, I think that at a certain level, like for thinking, Paul, I would say that's currently true. But I would also say, it's all these business buzzwords, right? Give up control and delegate. I don't want to like camp on those. I do think as an owner, one thing that gets surrendered a lot is time to really strategically plan the business. So if the rainmaker's jumping out 40 hours a week to go make money, fine. As long as we're getting 2, 4, 6 hours additional a week where the owner can actually just sit distraction free and actually start saying, man, what is in my brain that I'm able to go out and be that salesperson? Like we built this whole out for Revive from like, what do you say when you greet a customer at their property? And it wasn't like, oh, let me start counting the windows. It was like, here's all the things we can talk about. Do you want to talk about the dog? Do you want to talk about this? So we were really building our salespeople how to think to go and sell like a pressure washing job. It's not difficult, but teaching the actual process that required strategic thinking on my part to say, wow, Dave, you've done 3,000 in-home painting estimates. There's a lot of shit I talked about over 10 years at the kitchen table that I'm able to transfer to my new sales team that's selling painting or pressure washing. So I just think a lot of owners go make the money, fine. But like we tell all our clients, we need 2 to 4 hours a week of your time. We're going to equip you as a CEO. It's not going to happen overnight, but over the course of a year, 2 hours a week, even that's 100 hours to strategically plan the business. So I just think if the owner has this decade-long mindset to build something great and they start carving out specific time to strategically plan, then it just becomes like this compound thing. So I wouldn't, if you're making 400 a year from your business, I'm not saying, oh, by March, you should be out of the truck. Like keep that thing going. Just make sure you do kind of an and layer in that strategic thinking. That my hope would be by January 2027, instead of 40 hours a week in the truck, maybe you're in 25. And by 2028, maybe that's 10. And 2029, it's 0. Like that kind of a progression, I think more owners could get behind as like, I could actually see that becoming a thing. I think we get cooked up too much on the internet, Paul, that getting off the truck or seeing a nice YouTube thumbnail, it's like instant. And I just like typically don't see that.
Yeah. And right, we're recording this end of 2025, going into 2026. Every year at this time, people are like, man, that year flew by. Yet when we try and tell them this is going to take 12 months, a lot of times they're like, I don't have 12 months, Dave. I need it now. 12 months goes by. They still do the same thing. And it's like, man, wouldn't you wish you got started? Because then you'd be, like you said, 15 hours closer to your destination than when you started. But I do love the idea of just getting started. Hey, let's carve out 30 minutes to an hour a day, which we all have. I know that because if you look at people's screen time usage or time on social media or time watching Netflix, it's more than an hour a day. So we could put that towards working on our business so we can slowly either get off the truck or stop selling or stop answering the phone because all of that translates into eventually, like you said, building that business to having that ultimate freedom. So as we go through that process, what are some of the biggest breakthroughs that you see? Because you've been helping
Mhm,
hundreds of, if not thousands of clients by now, get off the truck, get out of doing
mhm.
sales, get out of working in the business. What are some of the biggest things that are the breakthroughs for your clients when they're like, man, Dave, this
Yeah.
really changed the game?
There's a few, man. The biggest one is the I dedicated chapter 4 of my book to it is all around the owner's time. It's a principle I learned over 10 years ago, a principle called block scheduling. And I got me and my assistant, we made all like cool graphics for the book. And like I say cool, they're like just dead simple, black and white, true to my personality. But it's literally showing what I did at Revive on a Monday, on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I would have specific themes for the day. And so for me, Monday was a production day. Anyone who's ran a service business knows it's incredibly hard to strategically plan on a Monday, at least the level that we were at. Well, I knew we'd have 80 emails in, we'd have 45 lead requests, I would have 2 sick calls, I would have a team meeting to run, and I would have an office manager who's like coming off the weekend, right? All those things I knew would be my production day. I would not be ready to go be present with a customer until Tuesday morning. So I'd make Tuesdays and Thursdays, those are my sales days. And Paul, you do a great job of this too, man. You made an exception for me, which I appreciate, but you typically record your podcasts in blocks when Paul is podcast remote. And this is something when clients work with us, they're just like, man, after doing that for 3 months, for 6 months, it's the game changer. And I'm not exaggerating, man. Like, I'm a more present parent. My wife's picked up on this, and I put this in my calendar too, man. Literally my calendar, I'm looking at it. All the dark blue stuff, it's like blueberry color on Google Calendar, is all the personal stuff. And I actually block out my personal stuff first. Then I put in HSBC stuff. Then I'll put in when I was running Revive. Revive was yellow. Those are all my time. So I think an owner, that's the first biggest like, aha. There's a few of them, but that's the first biggest one is like, my gosh, when I feel I have a little more grasp of my time, I feel amazing. And here's the last thing I'll say. I'll give it back to you. I've never scheduled my calendar, Paul, more than 70% because I keep white in there. I just know stuff's going to come up. My kiddo's going to be sick. Someone's going to call in. Revive's van's going to get, we've done everything under the sun, man. Revive's trailer backed into a brand new F-150. Oh, crap. The owner's pissed off. Or the owner of the truck's pissed off. There's probably a phone call I'm going to have to go make. Just all these things come up. So don't overschedule it. But right now, I'd say most owners listening right now have their block schedule built like 15% at most. They just open up their palms to the whims of the world and are like, oh, where do you want me? And I'm going to just be this ping pong ball the entire week. Doesn't work like that in the businesses that I owned.
Yeah. And in any home service, that's going to be the case, right? Like if we don't take control of the day will control us because there are so many things that we can all of a sudden we prioritize because we don't have any other priorities. So it's like, oh, so-and-so called. Oh, I'll get on that. Oh, so because we don't have control of our schedule and that is stressful. Then like we were talking about earlier, you get to the end of the day, it's like, I was busy all day, but what did I actually accomplish?
Yep.
Versus if you have this block scheduling, I love the 70% idea because things do still come up. Going back to your, what you see on social media, like, yeah, you can read all about it. You can see all about it on social media, but life happens. Right? We're not going to block schedule 100% of our day, just like we're not going to get off the truck in 3 months. And I do love kind of the transparency and reality to, what you guys are building over there. So we get our block scheduling set up. What are some of the biggest things we need to work on as far as working on the business when we start to do that as a business owner, no matter what size business?
Yeah, I think for me, Paul, one thing in going through the sale process, and you'll like this, is the new owner coming in. The biggest thing he wanted was the team in place. I had 7 loyal, full-time, year-round team members, I call them, at Revive. So, running the day-to-day, that included kind of a field service manager, 1 sales consultant, and then I had 5 technicians in the field. So that was like the tippy top, like incredible. The second piece of value was I took about 2 years to perfect these 6 playbooks at Revive. I called them, our marketing playbook, sales playbook. Every one of these, men, was beefy documents, 50 plus pages of just gold for if Paul flew to Vancouver, BC, and he had never run a window cleaning business before, I'd be confident, man, if you went through my marketing playbook, you'd be like, I got the 80% of what I need to know. So I perfected each playbook. It took so much time, man. I basically built Revive from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. over the course of 2 years at the same table in a Starbucks. And I'll preface this, man, this is pre-kids, because right now I'm a dad. I'm not building from 6 to 8 a.m. Not a chance. I'm busy making breakfast, doing whatever. But for me, for that stage of life, that worked excellent for me. So as much as the block schedule, I want to nerd out with it, you got to have a chat with your partner and say, the next 12 months, 2026, based on our calendars, the craziness, when would actually be the best time that I could block out some time? For me, I work best in like 2 to 3 hour chunks where I can actually like build something and then lift my head up for air. So that would be one, is like find the time. But really, like most listeners right now, Paul, you can tell me, I would wager 90%, 80% at least don't have a marketing playbook or a sales. I'll just rattle them off: sales playbook, human resource playbook. How do you actually hire people? What's the position agreement look like? We had an operations playbook. That was crazy. How do you organize the vans? What are the metrics? A safety playbook was inside the operations as well. And so I had a CEO playbook. How do you actually run the business? And then I had an office admin playbook. So I took, like I said, over 2 years to build those out. But that's the stuff that I was working on. And you know it, Paul, like that's the stuff that makes a business run, not like, wow, what PSI were our pressure washers, or how far up did our water fed pole go, or did we traditional hand cleaner use water fed pole, or all these nerd technical questions are like $25 an hour questions. I was interested in putting my time at $500 an hour. Every hour is at Revive. I was building playbooks and building the business.
Love it. Yeah. And I think where a lot of people get stuck is like, "Oh, I don't even know where to start." Right. But what I have found in my experience, and you could chime in if it's different, is but like once we get started, then we've got the framework, then we continue to add to it. It's like, oh, I forgot this. Because there's so many
Mhm.
things we do or that we know that like just happen no matter what. Right. There's probably
Yep.
50% of the marketing playbook that gets done without anybody thinking because they've done it enough times.
Yeah.
But we continue to improve. Like you said, it takes 2 years. It's not like you're there 2 years straight just pounding away in a marketing playbook, but every week something's probably popping in your head of like, oh yeah, we
Yeah.
do that. Let's add that in there. So that's really good insight for all listeners out there. And I'll vouch for, like you said, you work for the people, 3, 4, 500,000 up to 1 million, a little bit over 1 million, call it.
Mhm.
I work with 3 million to $10 million companies, and plenty of them don't have any of that either. Right. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no matter where you're at, we can always refine that. And if you ever do want to sell your business and you're listening to this, once you get through the financial part and due diligence starts, they're going to want to see that. Hey, how's this thing going to run if Dave's not here? How's this going to run if Peggy's not in the office today? What's going to happen if I need to hire somebody for this position? All those kind of
Yeah.
things. So, as we start to wrap it up, give me a couple things in the book that we didn't hit on that you feel the listeners just
Ooh,
they have to know. Pick one, pick two, whatever you got
dude,
that is like,
lots.
this is what
Oh,
Dave needs to leave everybody with.
I mean, man, you've done a lot of content on this, but there's a few. Just raising prices in general is just like, I mean, you're a money guy, man. Like that is just one thing. If we're going into 2026, and I made a Facebook post about this, is just like, let's just pretend you did nothing, but you like just pick a number, man, like 10, 20%, somewhere in there. Let's just start and just go across the board. We're doing this at HSBC. Our magic number, Paul, was 34%. So we're going up Jan 30, 34% across the board. Our coaching programs is just, I think once the owner finds out that is integral to running a business, like nothing else. This podcast could be 30 seconds. Everything I said, playbooks, what's the point if the business isn't actually making money and can run without the owner? So that's probably like the first thing. Again, most listeners, for people we coach, Paul, $500,000 pressure wash businesses, they're not charging enough. They're charging based on what competitors are charging. And I put this in my book, is the most like bullshit term on earth. I'm getting other quotes. We did a lot of resi work. It's like the homeowner is basically having uninformed business owners come and they're collecting underbid quotes. Essentially, that's what's happening. And so your email inbox should be blowing up with people saying, OMG, this is outrageous. Yes, I'm sorry. Customers or my competitors don't know their numbers as good as we do. And man, I coach my clients. You charge as high as you can, so the market says yes to. And what does that mean, Dave? For me, as long as Revive had our close ratio in 40 to 60%, we kept pushing prices up. If it drops to 35, okay, we're probably a little bit high. But if I'm selling at 58% in peak season, we're going to keep charging more. So that I riff on that in chapter 8, all on sales. I carved out a section of the book to just say, raise your prices and how do you actually do it. I riffed on that. So there's probably 10 more things, man. I'm just like, let's do a 20-minute podcast on this, but that's like the first one I would say.
Yeah, and I was I actually just made a post today. So our guest that was last week, Ryan Lee, talked about this, and it's fresh in my mind. So we're gonna share it with you guys as well. If you charge $100 for something, and your net profit right now is 10%, which is high for all the people I see. Most home services are not making 10%. Don't believe social media, but say you're making 10%. If we're at $100 for the widget, we make $10 on this widget. If we raise our price by 10%, our profit doubles. So if we go from 100 to 110, that extra $10 goes straight to the bottom line. And now we're at 20%. Literally, you can double if you're at 10% net profit and you raise your price by 10%. So if you're selling something for $300 and now tomorrow it's $330, you've literally just doubled your profits. You went from 10% to 20% if you didn't do anything else. So that example alone to me tells me everything. And I also want to chime in on this because people aren't buying your service every day. Dave went to Starbucks every single day while he was working on his business.
Still do.
He still does. He knows the exact price of the latte he gets or whatever he gets. People buy your services maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. So they're not gonna be like, oh man, that's $30 more than it was yesterday. Get out of here. They don't know that, right? Like you're not buying your stuff every day. So raise your prices. It's going to go straight to the bottom line. If you're doing performance pay, almost all of it will go to the bottom line. So let's put a bow on this, Dave. What do you got for us? How do we get the book? What do we need to do to take action?
Oh man, so you can get the book on Amazon. We froze the price at a whopping $10 USD. So you can just get off the truck into Amazon, whether you're in Australia, America, or Canada. And it's gone really good so far, Paul. We've collected about 58 now 5-star reviews, which is incredible. And it's having an impact. I get emails from people every week that the book's helping them grow. So I put two things. I put kind of an action step at the end of each chapter. There's 9 chapters, so each chapter kind of sums up. I put a bow on it. Go and do this. And for those men that, oh, I'm not a reader. I told myself that for 24 years, man. And so I'm going to call your excuse. Go to Audible, search Get Off the Truck, use a credit, and put me in your ears. It's 4 hours, 25 minutes. And why the audio is longer is actually I put a 20-minute sidebar, Paul, at the end. Called it a sidebar, the end of each chapter where I just like riff on what I just talked about and kind of go a little bit deeper. So that kind of, not a lot of Audibles do that, but I wanted to kind of do it a bit different. So yeah, just anywhere it's going to be available, man. And I just think I want to kind of bring the gift to the world. And at the end of the day, I'm glad it's done. I'm not writing another book anytime soon. And it was fun to push it across the line. And I'll kind of remember 2025. One of the big things was completing this book I'm really proud of.
Awesome. Congrats. Not many people can write a book, let alone one that isn't just a lead magnet. So that is awesome. And I love the Audible idea. And for those people that say, I don't have 4.5 hours, speed it up to 1.5 or 2 times speed and you can consume it even quicker. So Dave Moerman, thanks again for coming on the show, sharing your journey and providing a ton of actionable advice for all the blue collar business out there as we continue on this journey to prosperity. So as we sign off, guys, go check out the book, Get Off the Truck, go to Amazon, go to Audible, buy it, download it, listen to it, read it, and start getting off the truck. Dave, thanks again for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Paul. Thanks, man.